Oh, hi. Howdy, hello. It's been a mite bit. Been a while since I did an 11 stretch and strengthen session. I have been doing a few stretch and strengthen sessions, but not live streaming for numerous reasons. So, happy to see ya. Good to be seen. How you doing today? I hope you're doing well. I'm doing pretty fantastic. Feeling much better after a pretty major flare-up the last week or so, I'm happy to say. And find myself with the camera pointed at the floor. So that's where I'm going to work today. I welcome you to join me to whatever degree feels good in your body, however feels right. I encourage you to at least do a little moving, do a little breathing, shrug some stuff off, let some stuff go, try smiling a little bit. I'm going to start, my legs were going to sleep, so I guess I'm starting with some leg bouncing out front. Let's start with some forward folding from the hips, from the seated position. I'm trying to think through who might be in a seated position watching the Facebooks. Probably none of you. So you could modify this. Well, get down on the floor. Come on now. Also, you could try it from your seated position on the couch. Maybe you could try it cross-legged. I just need to uncross my legs because they are going to sleep a lot. So there you have it. Let's give the knees a little love. And then I'm going to bend forward from the hips. I'm going to add a little stretching from the torso, just aiming my chin for my toes. Bringing the hands back down to the knees because that's what I feel like doing. And then I'm going to round the spine, aiming forehead for knees. Just exploring a little stretching, warming things up. And again, chin for toes with a relatively flat back. This can be done standing or seated with the legs bent and feet firmly on the floor. Thank you for the love. I do appreciate it. And rounding the spine again, a little bit deeper now, aiming forehead for knees. Just relaxing into that. And then using the hands on the legs, a little more active stretching, aiming forehead for chin for toes. This is forehead, this is chin. For the toes there. Relaxing the belly, really trying to fold from the hips. And then one more time, relaxing all of that, aiming forehead for knees. And then I'm going to just roll back up, rooting into these sits bones. Let's bring one foot up into the groin area and do a forward fold over that right leg, using the hands on the leg, wherever it's comfortable, to kind of pull the body forward. And I'm pushing this knee, you move this log, and then I'm pushing this knee down onto the ground and trying to keep both sits bones or both hips are rooted into the earth. There's a temptation to roll off of that opposite hip, so you want to make sure and stay grounded in that hip. Stay pushing down in that knee, and then pulling forward with the arms a little bit. Still bending from the hip and aiming my chin for these toes. Let's add a little more twist, so using my right leg and my left arm, and then I'm going to bring this right arm behind me. Just adding a forward folding twist to the whole situation. Just enjoying that wringing out of the organs a little bit. And coming back into the forward fold and coming back to center. Let's untuck that leg. Give those knees a little more love. And then bringing in the right foot in close to the groin. Pressing this knee down. Rooting both hips into the earth and folding the upper body over that left leg, aiming chin for toes. I'm using my hands on that leg for a little pull, a little torque, a little stability. Still working to push this knee down, root both hips into the ground. Letting that relax into that stretch a little bit before using my right hand on the left leg now and Following this left arm back for a little twist. Using hand and leg together for torque and support. Just getting into that twist a little bit. Enjoying that wringing out sensation through the torso. And then unwinding all of that. Again, aiming chin for toes and bringing the body over that left leg. And then coming back up to upright, up to upright. Untuck that leg and give those knees a little love. Let's bring both feet together. I like to clap the palms or soles of the feet. I like to call these soles and these palms. And get silly on the floor a little bit. That's something I think we don't do enough. Anyway, whether you got silly or not, maybe bring the soles or palms of your feet together. And then I'm using my hands on those feet to pull the chest forward. And again, push the knees, in this case both knees, down toward the ground a little. You can try one side then the other, or bouncing the butterfly a little. Listen to your own body and do push those limits just a little bit, like 4%, but not so much that it hurts. Don't hurt anything. Just listen and play and give it a minute. It's got to go to space. Internal or external space, in any case. It helps to give it a minute. Give it a breath or two. Kind of just relax into things. Exploring that a little bit. Let's pull into that again a little bit using hands on feet. If I was touching legs with these elbows, I would be pressing, but instead I'm pulling forward and up a little bit. And I'm actually going to now put these feet on the ground and bring myself into a squat position from there. Another underappreciated playful position that I like to get into daily. I don't always succeed, but pushing these heels toward the ground, you might find that that's challenging at first. You can stay up on your toes if you're exploring this in an unfamiliar way. Just play. I like to rock back and forth on the toes and on the heels, and then settling onto those heels, still trying to pull up a little bit in the pelvic floor, relax the belly, and I'm going to use my elbows on my knees to kind of really work the torso forward, pulling the upper body through, kind of through the shoulders is what it feels like, and through the hips, pushing the hips open via the knees with these elbows. You can use the hands for additional push, and pushing those heels down to the floor. It's a nice dynamic stretch, which for me feels good in lots of ways, and again I think is an underappreciated stretch for the human body. And from here I like to add a little twisting and shoulder stretching by hooking an arm, so hooking the left arm under that knee and rotating, rolling it back, and then rotate it back into the prayer hand position, and then on the other side, rotating the right arm. So I'm kind of rolling this shoulder forward, hooking this arm under the knee, and just using it for torque and support, again, to help stretch. Let's do that one more time on each side, hooking the left arm under the left knee and stretching the body. I'm pulling forward in the torso, pushing back through that knee, really opening the hip and opening the chest and opening the shoulder. Coming back to center. One more time on the right, rotating that arm and pushing through the knee, still keeping those heels aiming for the ground. You can slide that arm further or less far on that knee and see how that changes the stretch. And coming back to center. From here I'm going to bring both hands down to the floor and lift the hips, coming into a forward fold. Letting some blood into those legs, jiggle those out a little bit. And just hanging here in a forward fold for a little bit. Let's adjust the britches and relaxing the belly, relaxing the back. Just letting the upper body hang from those hips. Let's add just a little gentle twisting over to the left. And then to center, using both hands on both legs. And then over to the right. Back to center. And then rolling up, pushing through the feet. Checking in on one vertebra at a time, just letting the arms dangle. Ha-ha, coming back to standing. Or I'm out of camera, that's all right. See if we can do some minor adjusting. We'll finish off just a little bit of standing up here. I got dome curve to contend with. I'm going to start in a straddle position because that's convenient for where I am and the camera is. And let's do just a little hip dipping, loosening up those hips a little more. So dipping on the left side, keeping both feet firmly planted and parallel, and just lowering that left hip. Start off gentle. Do listen to your own body, your own hips. Hey Rick, it's good to see you out there. Again on the left side and again on the right side. For me, that brings a stretch mostly into the inner thigh there, but I do feel it in the hip socket here. I'm just exploring that, noticing how the two sides are different. Now over on the right, I want to bring these feet just a little bit wider and try not to pop anything out of socket. On the left and then on the right, just enjoying that stretch. Got a lot of tension in those hips, so giving it a minute. And then coming back to center. So wiggle that out a little bit and walk these feet back together under the hips. And now I'm going to push into each hip. So taking weight off the right and just pushing into that left. Do be very mindful and aware of your own ball and socket joint. You don't want to go popping anything out. It is good to keep it limber and flexible and functional because you use it a lot, but also not good to just go forcing it where it's not used to going. So I encourage you to explore that range of motion gently, mindfully. It's something I try to do regularly because I find with all the sitting we do, let's go over to the right side and do that. So taking most of my weight off the left. You can keep weight on that leg if you want. The point is just to push into that hip to whatever degree feels good in your body. Exploring that range of motion, keeping that functionality in the hip sockets. Pushing into the right, and I'm going to do that a couple more times on each side. So again, pushing a little more now into the left. I like to just give it that kind of sway to see how that changes up. You can stop in any one spot and kind of push into that. See how that changes up the stretch. You might find a spot that feels real good. And taking weight off the left, pushing into the right. And stopping in a couple different spots, pushing into that stretch. Again, mindfully, respectfully listening to your own body. And playfully, if you can. And then add the breathing and the smiling, of course. So much, huh? Let's shake that out a little bit. Just let things relax. And then rooting those feet again under the hips. Hips relatively parallel to the floor. And weight trying to stay evenly rooted into those feet. I'm going to slide the hips to the left. The temptation is going to be to take weight off of the right, but I'm going to really focus on rooting that right foot and basically pushing from that foot into this hip, trying to keep that relatively parallel to the floor. I kind of find myself bending this knee a little bit, and what that does is give me a nice stretch through the torso and back here. Back in front of the torso. That's what I meant. And then sliding over to the right. Again, now rooting in the left foot as much as possible. And again, sliding to the left and sliding to the right. Let's go a little deeper, sliding to the left and sliding to the right. And again to the left. And one more time to the right. And then I shake all that out. I'm going to do just a little more stretching through the chest and arms. See, I got tags and things poking out everywhere. I'm going to bring hands behind back, rolling shoulders together, rolling elbows together. Do a little counter stretching first. Is it counter stretching if you start with it? I don't know. And then I'm going to do a forward fold with a relatively flat back, making sure not to lock those knees, and bringing these hands with me. Clasp hands from the hips. And then I'm just going to use the arms to stretch the chest, basically actively, which meaning I'm using some muscle to get into that stretch by pulling the shoulders, pulling the chest, actively stretching. And then I'm going to passively stretch, so relaxing everything, keeping the hands clasped, but just letting gravity do the stretching, trying to relax all the muscles. And then again, actively stretching, rolling shoulder blades together, rolling elbows towards each other, pressing palms, exploring that stretch, actively pulling with the muscles. And then letting all that go, leaving hands gently clasped, just letting gravity do the stretching. One more time, actively pulling shoulder blades together, pressing palms, exploring my triceratops ridges, I like to call them. And then letting that go. I'm going to let the elbows drift away from each other, keeping hands together. And bring the hands down to give the low back a little check, a little love. Check in with the body, down the back of the lower body, checking in with the butt and the hamstrings, backs of knees, backs of calves. Check in with those ankles. I got spring congestion happening, so we're going to roll up. Checking in with the feet, hey toes, hey ankles. Rolling up slowly, checking in with the calves and the knees and the thighs and the hips, the pelvis, the butt, the torso. Check in with the chest and the arms. Rub palms together. Check in with the face and the scalp. Can't keep those in my mouth and smooth my face at the same time. Just bringing the whole body together in my attention, gathering up stresses and letting them go, dislodging stagnant energy, getting into the flow. I encourage you to do the same. I want to remind you, you are worthy of your own unconditional love. So I hope you're remembering to give yourself some of that. Remembering to play. Remembering to move. Remembering to let go. There's more on the way. You don't need to hold on so tightly. Thank you for stopping by. It's good to see you. Let me know if there's something I can do for you. Until next time, ciao.